Time to deliver.
Mr. Dreadful.
I hope we find long-lost ancient literature. Body and mind.
Forth, my blade! Submit for judgment! A touch of frost! Spirit blade! Attack! How?
No, my sword! Witness the power of Guwa!
From whence you came! One with my blade! It was worth the trouble.
I created another universe. In fact,
Behold, the Prinzessin der Welt.
Oz, reveal thyself. Rain outlines your fate.
A touch of frost. Spirit blade. Attack! Swift and merciful. From whence you came.
No, my sword. Rain cutter. Body and mind.
Forth my blade. Spirit blade. Attack! Swift and merciful.
Time to act.
A touch of frost. From whence you came.
Ad Astra Abyssosk. Ad Astra Abyssosk. Well, thank you for completing today's commissions. Something that catches your eye.
One-Win Bookhouse. Guess this is...
Feel free to look around. There's no obligation to buy.
We're looking for the Liyue volume of the Teyvat Travel Guide. Do you have it in stock?
Sorry, dear. We stopped stocking that a very long time ago. It just wasn't selling.
Huh? But the Mondstadt volume was so interesting. Bummer.
The thing is, the author made it too personal, and the result wasn't really much of a guide. It barely sold any copies, and the few travelers that did buy it made complaints afterward.
Well, that's a shame. The Mondstadt volume was a good read, even just as an adventurer's diary.
The fact remains that I don't have it in stock. If you must read it, try your luck at Chang the Ninth's place.
Who's Chang the Ninth?
A book collector who lives in Qingse Village. He's a complete grouch, but he will behave himself if the conversation is about books. He was a regular customer here back when he lived in Liyue Harbor, and I still send him the odd out-of-print book or two every now and then.
Did somebody say out-of-print books? Is there a chance that Volume 6 of Legend of the Shattered Halberd is also in his collection? Apologies, my liege. Where are my manners? My name is Sing Cho, a humble literature enthusiast who happened to be passing by. Since you and I are both in search of lost books, what say we travel together to Mount Qingse and pay a visit to Chang the Ninth? My pleasure, fellow book lover.
So, are you buying or not?
Should we ask here if they have a copy of the Liyue volume of the Teyvat Travel Guide? It's super duper interesting.
Objects like this may prove useful when purging evil spirits.
The heavens are smiting me to smithereens. Uh-huh. And what do you want? Come on, spit it out.
We've heard you've got tons of old books lying around, and we want to borrow the Liyue volume of the Tevat Travel Guide.
Huh. Don't get me started on the topic of my books. After the chasm was sealed off, the family mining business started going south. Then the Fatui started working to sabotage me. To pay off my debts, I had no choice but to pawn off my beloved book collection. Every last book. Do you have any idea what that means? Wrong. That was my life's work. I devoted my entire life to curating, collecting, caring for them, and now they're gone. Gone, I tell you. It's useless ranting and raving at you like this. All I can do is try to save enough Mora to buy them back. Unless you have other business here, I'm done talking to you. Goodbye. Off you go. Go on, go.
Please tell me that you didn't pawn Volume 6 of Legend of the Shattered Halberd.
Legend of the Shattered Halberd. There's a title I haven't heard in a long time. You have good taste, my boy.
What? But we don't?
That work was an epic-defining masterpiece. Granted, it was almost unknown at the time it was published, but over time it was the work that came to define the genre of martial arts novels and sparked a plethora of imitation works. Barely any copies of the first edition were ever printed.
The later edition inexplicably went out of print, almost as soon as it was released. A shame, given what it allegedly added to the original story.
Yes, that's right. How did I forget? The original edition's 6th volume of that work is so rare, I could never bring myself to pawn it no matter how much I needed the money.
You mean you still have it?
Yes. It is my one and only remaining treasure.
Hey, Chang. You've got some nerve keeping me and my boss waiting like this. I need an answer. Will you sell the core lapis or not? I'm sure you don't need me to remind you that if you mess with Gentry Moutsai, you're messing with the Fatui.
Oh, you again. But you know I can't afford to give a 70% discount on the price. I'd never be able to buy my collection back.
That's your business. The question is, do you want your books, or do you want food on your plate? Perhaps you'd like to take your books with you to an early grave.
You...
Whoa there, friend. Come on. This gentleman is either willing to make a deal or he's not. You can't force him to sell against his will.
Just who do you think you are? Keep your nose out of other people's business.
My liege, I am but one who comes to the aid of this gentleman in his moment of need. I am Xingqiu, disciple of the Guhua clan.
Guhua clan? Did you hear this clown? He thinks he's a Guhua master in this day and age. Oh, there was me thinking the last granddads of Guhua had keeled over and died by now. Who were you supposed to be then, huh? Some sort of Guhua messiah?
Justice is blind to our backgrounds, my friend. That just makes me someone trying to do the right thing. But you? The weasel who does the tiger's bidding may be less powerful than his master, but he is no less guilty.
Get a load of this guy. Just you wait. You'll be sorry you crossed me. And you, Chang, you're selling that core lapis whether you like it or not.
Oh, how the wolves prey upon the fallen tiger. My days are numbered.
So, just to come back to what we were talking about earlier, could I get a yay or nay about borrowing that book?
Oh, what does it matter now? I can't expect anybody to care about me anymore. But since you did stick up for me, please, just take this book and leave me in peace.
3 long years I have waited for this day. Words cannot express my gratitude. I, Xingqiu, vow to repay this great act of generosity.
All right, give it a rest. Just bring it back when you're finished. Sorry, but I'm not about to put my hopes in some self-professed Guhua disciple.
Hey, where are you going? We've still got a job to do over here. So, you like reading, huh, Mr. 5-second hero?
Oh, amazing! I never saw that coming.
Hello? Xingqiu? Anybody in there?
No wonder this book is so highly sought after.
How can they bully poor old Cheng the Ninth like this? Forcing him to sell his ore for dirt cheap? It's daylight robbery, pure and simple.
Don't forget me. I'm in too.
Oh, so now you can hear what we're saying.
The reason I borrowed this book is that it would be a real pity if Cheng the Ninth ended up having to pawn it. And I meant every word I said to Cheng the Ninth. I will return his act of kindness. It is the just thing to do. I will be custodian of this book, and I will also help find a way to buy back the rest of his collection. Of course I do. An initial plan anyway. I still need to work out the details. Give me a second to reflect. It shan't take but a moment.
You're still here? What is this, a game to you? You think no one's really gonna get hurt? I gotta hand it to the Goofball clan. What you lack in numbers and talent, you make up for in guts. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Goofball clan? I meant Guhua clan. That's what you goofballs call it, right?
There's a saying that goes, the insect that shakes the oak tree ludicrously overestimates its ability.
Quit quoting proverbs at me, you buffoon!
Please leave this place. I will not tolerate an attempt to coerce an honest trader, especially when the one you seek to threaten is one to whom I owe a debt of gratitude.
It's cute that you want to stick your neck out for Chang and all. But you picked the wrong time, you little punk. I brought the Fatui to back me up. A whole army of you and your little Guhua buddies wouldn't be able to help you now.
I may be young, my liege, but the path I have chosen makes me no stranger to conflict. Why should I cower in the face of evil?
Oh, great speech. But now it's time for you to learn your lesson.
There you are, eavesdropper.
No, my sword!
The hunter.
Over here.
Body and mind.
Spirit Flame! Attack!
Witness the power of Guhua.
Over here.
Swift and merciful!
You really know how to get me
Submit
going.
for judgment!
I thought that was just a regular pendant you were wearing, not a vision. You won this round, but you better watch your back. This isn't over.
Would it be too much to hope they've learned their lesson? No, you misunderstand. That fellow has a foul mouth, to be sure. But his assessment of the state of the Guhua clan is, well, not exactly incorrect, I suppose. Though I long to restore Guhua to its former glory, it is no easy task.
They've gone for now, but they'll be back looking to cause more trouble before long.
I'll see to it that no harm comes to those who show me kindness. There is a just and unjust way to do business, and I will ensure the matter is resolved satisfactorily. It's not like the Fatui to pick sides in a business dispute, but the confident demeanor of their errand boy suggests there is substance to his words. There must be a deeper level of collusion at work here. He mentioned Gentry Mautai. I know this name. He has a stately residence in Liyue Harbor. Maybe the two of you could go and investigate.
That idea works, but what are you gonna do?
Me? I have other things to look into. Let me see. Let us meet at Yujing Terrace in Liyue Harbor in a bit.
You really have stuff to do? Are you sure you're not just using us as your errand runners?
Wow, so that's how that turned out. This whole passage is just extraordinary.
Ugh, this guy is so annoying! Fine, but as per tradition, Paimon gets to pick an ugly nickname for him. From now on, he shall be known as Guhua Geek.
Unexpected, but welcome.
Who goes there? Really? He didn't mention anything about a meeting. The Master's dealing with some urgent business today. All prior appointments have been canceled.
Urgent business? What is it?
The Master's been working on a major business deal recently. He left early this morning to meet with a VIP client.
So, where is he now?
I'm sorry. The Master is stressed that we must not disclose that information to just anyone. No, I mean, yes. Yes, you are. I meant no offense. Please, believe me. I'm sorry. Master's currently in business negotiations at Shinya Kiosk. I beg for your mercy, please. My master will show me no leniency if he finds out.
Well, my master has much more important things to do than talking to rude guards like you. Luckily for you, your bad attitude will be the last thing on his mind when he's busy negotiating a big business deal with your boss.
Thank you. May your business forever be blessed by the Lord of Geo.
Nice work! Paimon never knew you were such a tough negotiator. Is that so? Now Paimon knows not to let your wily ways get the better of her in the future. Anyway, seems like the VIP client in question must be one of the Fatui. In that case, let's get ourselves over to the Shinue kiosk. Seems business is booming at the Shinue kiosk. No one should notice if we blend in there. But either way, if we want to know what kind of shady business they're up to, we better be careful.
I understand. I do. Please do not worry. You have my word that the order will be completed as promised.
The subordinate I sent was not quite so optimistic in his appraisal. Is somebody being uncooperative?
We just ran into a minor procurement problem, is all. We haven't managed to purchase the core lapis yet. But it's nothing for you to worry about. If Chang the Ninth won't sell, I can buy from someone else.
That would be most ideal. I remind you again that the Fatui care only about the result. We are willing to lend a certain degree of support to this transaction. But if it is not completed in time, you may suddenly find our goodwill comes at a price you cannot afford.
I understand. I am indebted to you for your protection. You know I would not dream of disappointing you, don't you?
We shall see when the time comes.
Darn that old man Chang.
So, Mr. Gentry Moutsai is colluding with the Fatui. Who knows if Gua Geek has made any progress? Should we go tell him?
Finally, a seat with a view. And with that,
I ride on wind and cloud alike.
You said you had other things to look into, as if you're some sort of man of mystery. When actually, all you meant was you wanted somewhere new to park your backside while you read your book.
I see. I guessed as much.
Did you really guess, or are you just saying that to sound clever?
The course of action we must take is now clear. To start with, please deliver this letter to the Feiyun Commerce Guild. They will know what to do. My liege, for reasons that I cannot explain, I will be unable to join you. There is no need for you to read the contents of the letter. When the time comes...
Ugh, this writing is super hard to read. Paimon can't make heads or tails of it.
Hence why I said there's no need for you to read it. The Feiyun Commerce Guild will have someone who can understand it.
But why would you want to get them involved? They're one of the bigwig commerce guilds in Liyue. Why would they want to help us? Since we got to Liyue, Paimon keeps hearing people mention it. Seems they oversee a lot of business that goes on around here. Having such big backing would be great and all, but are you sure they'd want to help?
No need to worry about that. From what I know, they share my sense of chivalry. Once they have read the carefully reasoned and passionately argued case I put forth in this letter, they will certainly be moved to action. Gentry Moutsai must be taught a lesson he will never forget. This is something we cannot do on our own. Also, I do not wish for anyone else to know of my involvement in this.
Why not? You're only doing this to try and help Chang the Ninth, right?
To silently disappear at the matter's conclusion, concealing one's name and contribution. This is the chivalrous thing to do. To savor the memory is ample reward. Each droplet of kindness I receive, I am duty-bound to repay with a welling spring of gratitude. I seek neither praise nor reward.
That sounds very lovely. But be honest, you just want them to do it so you can carry on reading your book, don't you?
Thank you in advance for delivering this letter to the Feiyun Commerce Guild. Someone from the guild should be able to receive you near Lioli Pavilion.
Hey! Stop ignoring Paimon! Excuse us, we come bearing news of a matter requiring your assistance.
A letter? Oh, I see. This again. Oh, don't mind me. I was just speculating. Let me give this a read.
Can he actually read this thing? Is it even written in the common tongue?
Yes, the script is inimitable by the uninitiated. Honored guests, you must both be wary from your long journey. Please allow the Feiyun Commerce Guild to be your host for tonight. Please rest assured that the matter written about has been duly received. We just need some time to prepare. Please take a seat here in Lioli Pavilion, where you may enjoy some light refreshments while taking in the ocean view. Consider it a small token of our esteem.
Yay! Tasty snacks! They're giving us the VIP treatment!
Of course. We treat visitors with the utmost respect here at the Feiyun Commerce Guild. When honored guests grace us with their presence, far be it from us to shirk our duty to them. Please, this way.
And Paimon thought we'd get kicked out, or turned away at the door. Paimon didn't think Guhua Geek had so much clout.
Thank you for your patience. With the amount of wealth and power Gentry Moutsai has, it will take more than a slap on the wrist to get through to him. For him to correct the error of his ways, he must feel for himself the same suffering he has inflicted on Chang the Ninth. Since Gentry Moutsai's business has to do with core lapis, we simply need to buy up all the stock there is in Liyue. That will put him in a rather sticky situation. Deprived of the necessary raw materials, even the best craftsperson in Teyvat would be unable to make their product.
Great idea! That'll be sure to mess things up between him and the Fatui. But Liyue is huge. Is it really possible to buy up every last bit of core lapis in the harbor?
With the timescale we are on, it is indeed a challenge. Hence, as stated in the letter, we must ask for your further cooperation in the matter. First, there are a number of vendors in the city you will need to buy from. I've marked their respective locations on your map. There is also some unsold core lapis at the chasm. You will need to purchase that too. Finally, there is Chang the Ninth's batch.
Alrighty, so 3 sellers in the city, another one at the chasm, and then Chang the Ninth. Roger that!
Of course, we are not expecting you to cover the costs.
Wow, so many mora! With cash like this, Paimon could rent out Lioli Pavilion and eat there for a whole month!
Well, this is not the first time we've had to do something like this. It's just par for the course now. All you need to do is strike a deal. The Feiyun Commerce Guild will handle the transportation and other trifling matters. Once you have purchased all the core lapis, Please proceed to the Feiyun Commerce Guild's warehouse, where you can see the rest of the plan unfold.
Gotta hand it to Guhua Geek. This is some seriously solid work for a guy who lives in a fantasy world. Let's do this in the order the guy said.
Hi, anything I can do for you? You want all my core lapis? I've already agreed to several orders. That said, none are in writing. The buyers are being incredibly indecisive. Oh, it's for the Feiyun Commerce Guild? Seems business trends are about to change in Liyue. Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself. Come, let us sign a contract. Don't worry about my prior client. He hadn't made any down payments or anything. Quite common in the industry. Thank you for your patronage. We hope the Feiyun Commerce Guild will continue to do business with us.
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a
We should open a store.
Good day, my friend. My apologies, but I'm out of stock at the moment. Please try again next time. Oh, I thought you were here to purchase Snezhnayan products. No, that I still have, although I ship it all to factories in Snezhnaya. I don't do retail. Too much hassle, not enough return. Sorry. What? No. Give me a second to think. All right, I'll do it. Just need you to sign for it. Clearly no shortage of cash flow in Liyue.
Oi! Shh! Keep your voice down. All of it? Though my business may not seem so big, I should warn you that I can get what you need, both legitimately and not so legitimately. Best you give me an actual number. All of it would be far more than you actually want. Feiyun Commerce Guild? Well, why didn't you say so? If it's for the Feiyun Commerce Guild, then sign on the dotted line, and I'll start getting things in order right away.
This is going well. Everything's so much easier when you've got stacks of Mora. Next stop, the chasm.
Body and mouth. Huh?
Spirit Blade! Attack! One with my blade!
No, my sword!
I slipped up. This one's well done. Full breakthrough.
whence you came!
It isn't time for a break yet.
Forth my blade! One with my blade! Submit for judgment! Forth my blade!
Prepare to be blown away!
No excuse for slacking. End this quickly.
Let me read you a verse.
It isn't time for a break yet.
Swift and merciful! Spirit blade! Attack! Swift and merciful!
I slipped up.
No, my sword!
It isn't time for a break yet. Let's end this quickly.
Forth my blade! From whence you came!
Breaking aside. It isn't time for a break.
One with my blade!
Let's end this quickly. It isn't time for a break yet.
By royal decree!
My duty at an end. Let's begin.
Rain outlines your fate.
Submit for judgment! Swift and merciful!
No, my sword! Ring cutter!
This isn't good. It was worth the trouble. Forth my blade! Spirit blade! Attack! Unexpected, but welcome.
Are you in charge of the core lapis here?
Aha, finally. I thought you might come. I hear the Feiyun Commerce Guild has been buying up all the core lapis stock in Liyue Harbor. As it happens, I do have a batch of core lapis that hasn't been shipped yet. It's all yours, if you name the right price. The original buyer's price was already quite high, so... The best I can do is 7 million mora.
Are you serious? We spent less than 100,000 mora on the rest of Liyue's stock put together.
I'm afraid it has to go to the highest bidder. I'm breaching an existing agreement by selling to you, so it has to be worth my while. Look, you have your problems to deal with and I have mine. You can take it or leave it. So if you're not buying, please leave me alone.
All right. We'll pay, even if it is a ridiculous price. When we get back, we'll just have to tell the guild that we'll sell to this gentleman at 4 times the normal price in the future.
Wait, surely there's no need for that. Please, don't do this. It's not even your money. Why be so frugal with it?
It might be the guild's money, but we'll have a tough time explaining to our boss why we spent so much in one go. If he asks, all we can do is mention your name and say you gouged us over the price.
I understand. I'm sorry, please. I don't want any trouble with the guild. There's just one other thing, though. There's been an issue with the delivery of this batch. Several carts were ambushed by hilly churls. I don't know where exactly, but if I can't retrieve the goods, I can't sell them to you either. So maybe you could go and look for the carts? There should be 5 of them in total. If you can find them all and tell me where they are, I'll sign the contract right away. Oh, thank you very much. This is a lot to ask, I know.
That's that then. Well, no time to lose. Come on! Another one down.
What trinkets lie veiled within this desolate plain?
Here we go! Loads of core lapis here! Quick, make a note of the location!
Body in mind. Rain outlines your fate.
Swift and merciful. Submit for judgment.
That's it, all right. That's a big old stash of core lapis. and see. Yep, that's it.
Time to act. No, my sword! Rain outlines your fate.
One with my blade. Spirit blade. Attack!
Witness the power of Guhua.
A touch of frost. From whence you came.
Body and mind.
One with my blade. A touch of frost.
It was worth the trouble.
Oh yeah, we found it! Check out all that core lapis! Make a note of the location. We'll send the Fayum Commerce Guild to collect it later. That guy said there were 5 carts in total, so that should be all of them. Let's get back. This has all been quite exhausting for poor little Paimon. He definitely owes Paimon some snacks. Here, we've made a note of the cart's locations. All 5 of them. Can you sell us the core lapis now?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you both. Yes, let's make this official. I also hope you could put in a good word with your boss for me.
Done and dusted. Yeah! Paimon's got a knack for this business malarkey, don't you think? Now for the final stop on our Corlapis crawl, to Chang the Ninth's place.
Just who I was hoping to see. I was just thinking to myself, Gentry mount-sized thugs have been mysteriously absent for a while now. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Oh, don't worry. You won't be hearing from them again.
Oh? What happened? Huh? Oh, I see now. You're in this trade too. So you're trying to beat him to the post, eh? Appearances can be deceiving, that's for sure. But I don't care who you are. A discount of 70% is simply impossible. The maximum I can do is 40% off, and even then I'm only breaking even.
No need. We'll take it at the market rate.
You mean you're not trying to force the price down? What's going on? Have I died and gone to heaven? I can't believe it. I will make a profit on this batch after all. But Gentry mount-sized thugs could still come back after I've sold it.
If Paimon told you they're not gonna bother you again, then you'd better believe they're not gonna bother you again.
Huh. Okay, then. My situation can hardly get worse from here in any case. But tell me, what on earth do you plan to do with so much core lapis?
Actually, it's for a commission. Can't go into too much detail.
Thank you. Thank you a million times over. I really don't know what to say.
Good people always get what's coming to them in the end. And so will the nasty people. Anyway, let's get going, because apparently we have a show to watch at the Feiyun Commerce Guild's warehouse.
I swear I'll reclaim my lost fortune.
Hello, nice to meet.
It was worth the trouble.
Welcome. The final act in this drama would not be complete without you two here as audience.
You better believe it. We're the ones who've been doing all the work. What exactly have you been doing all this time?
Well, naturally, I used the time to immerse myself completely in Legend of the Shattered Halberd. I managed to finish the book off, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Divine Halberd, an ominous sword. Mir and Wei Yang. The way the story develops across the first 5 volumes. Nothing short of exemplary. But the 6th volume? Words fail me. How blessed we are to have such an author grace our world with such works.
And this is related to Gentry Moutsai how?
It's not. But when something surpasses expectations to such a degree, one must show one's appreciation. It was rather good, thanks. I only hope that as our plan reaches its denouement, it too will live up to its expectations.
Why does Paimon have to be the only one who doesn't get what's going on? No fair. So go on then, tell me, what are we doing here? And what's this big dramatic showdown thing that's supposed to happen?
Think about it. Gentry Moutsai goes searching for core lapis all over Liyue Harbor, and he doesn't find a single piece. He panics. Without the goods, he can't fulfill his contract. And if he can't fulfill his contract, he can't stay in good standing with the Fatui. He hears a rumor that the Feiyun Commerce Guild is the culprit. Panic turns to disbelief. Gentry Moutsai is a hugely powerful figure in the business world. Never has anyone dared to target him like this. So regardless of whether it is revenge or a swift resolution that he seeks, he is certain to...
So it was you! You were the one sticking your necks out for Chang the Ninth!
Speak of the devil.
I went everywhere trying to find someone selling core lapis before I realized the Feiyun Commerce Guild had been on an acquisition spree. Core lapis is hardly a rare mineral, and yet suddenly the stocks dry up, just like that. Explain yourselves. What is the meaning of this persecution?
We are not persecuting you, but protecting another, one to whom I am indebted. Upon witnessing an injustice, it is a perfectly normal response to rush to the aid of he who has been wronged. Was it not one of your own men who said, "This isn't over"?
You clearly don't know what's good for you. I won't beat around the bush. Master, if you please, seize their Corlapis!
No, my sword!
Swift and merciful! Spirit Blade! Attack! One with my blade!
Let me read you a verse.
You're open!
Change of plan.
Swift and merciful!
That was
From whence you came!
No escape.
A touch of frost! One with my blade! Submit for judgment!
Rain outlines your fate.
So soon.
Forth my blade!
You can't run from death.
Impressive. You are no commoners. To continue this fight would be to incur greater losses than I can accept.
Their strength is almost spent. Finish them off! The Corlapis is almost within our grasp.
Might I remind you that the Fatui's relationship with you extends to business matters only? I did not lend you my men to have them stir up trouble at your beck and call.
What are you saying? Master, everything I did with only one thing in mind. To complete the order.
Then figure it out by yourself.
Don't go. Wait. Master, wait!
My lord, what are you doing here? Are you hurt?
Thanks to this valiant young woman, I am unscathed.
My lord?
You? You are the heir of the Feiyun Commerce Guild?
Indeed, my liege. I am Xingqiu, disciple of the Guhua clan and second son of the Feiyun Commerce Guild manager, and I make no secret of it.
Drats! I've been played like a fiddle.
Gentry Moutsai. Coercion and intimidation are hardly the attributes of a respectable businessman. The problems that your business practices have created, I have sought to resolve through mine. I shudder to think what the Fatui will do with you if you fail to provide their Corlapis.
You meddling swine. Well, go on. Tell me, what will you sell it for?
Since you asked Chang the Ninth for a discount of 70%, let's fight fire with fire, shall we? 3 times the market rate sounds fair, no?
How dare you subject me to such viciousness? This is a malicious and calculated attempt to run me into the ground.
Deep breaths now. This is a simple decision. Will you buy or not?
Fine. Have it your way. I'll find the money somehow. Happy now?
On behalf of the Feiyun Commerce Guild, I thank you for your business, and hope you will continue to do business with us in future.
You? Funny-speaking, book-reading, guhua geeking Xingqiu are the heir of the Feiyun Commerce Guild? So that massive stash of Mora you let us burn through in a day? That was from your private vault?
'Twas but a paltry sum. I got to make a very sound investment while putting Gentry Maltsai in his place. A classic two birds, one stone situation. You're too kind. You have valor in your heart, and that is worthy of admiration.
Yikes! Paimon's been calling you Guhua Geek this whole time. Paimon read in one of these martial artist novels that when rich heirs like you get angry at someone, you have their arms and legs chopped off. Paimon's toast, and sorry, very sorry. Please don't hurt Paimon.
Calm down. Since you can fly, you hardly need your legs anyway.
Save me, save me. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill.
Jokes aside, I have the two of you to thank for this successful resolution. Really, you were a huge help. Meanwhile, Legend of the Shattered Halberd was positively riveting. Much obliged if you could return it to Chang the Ninth for me. I did nothing, and hence deserve none of his gratitude. The two of you, meanwhile, though strangers to the circumstances, stepped in and saved the day. To have made such valiant and chivalrous friends is more than enough for me, my liege.
My lord, forgive the intrusion. It's about your father.
Please inform my father thusly. I have averted a disaster and earned a sizable sum of money in the process. Might this meritorious act compensate for my prior transgressions and earn me a few more days of freedom, perchance? Legend of the Shattered Halberd speaks of a domain that I should very much like to investigate.
For all your clever long words, the fact is you're just a lazy bones who doesn't want to work.
What if I told you that a reward awaits you at Chang the Ninth's palace, and not just his gratitude?
A reward? Well, that sweetens the deal somewhat.
It seems whatever I say, there's no persuading you to stay. Oh, I didn't realize you weren't aware.
Thank you in advance for returning the book for me. I will take my leave now. May we meet again, fellow merchants.
Finally, you're back. This morning, the pawnbroker showed up and gave me back my entire collection. I'm positive that you must have been behind this once again. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please don't say that. You have no idea how much this means to me. The Chang family was a prestigious household in Liyue back in the day. Unfortunately, after I took over the family's affairs as heir, a series of business setbacks devoured our fortune. Since then, I've saved for years, hoping to restore the house to its former glory. In the end, everything was riding on this Corlapis deal. Were it not for you, this barren wasteland in the mountains would have become my final resting place.
Wow, that's the second heir we've met in this town.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing? Oh, here's your book back.
Wonderful. Legend of the Shattered Halberd. I was beginning to think that Guhua rascal had swindled me.
Do people really look down on the Guhua clan so much?
Actually, the art is centuries old, and was once held in high esteem. But now it has faded beyond recognition. To instigate a revival, you need to inject some fresh blood, but it's hard to attract budding young talent to a dying art. And so it becomes a vicious cycle. In any case, Guhua kids these days. Take that young rascal Xingqiu, for instance. For all his talk about repaying kindness with kindness and whatnot, what has he done to show for it? You're the ones who've displayed a genuine sense of responsibility. What does it matter? Anyway, you wanted the Liyue volume of the Tevat Travel Guide, didn't you? I'll fetch it for you. It's yours to keep. In addition, here is but a small token of appreciation for your huge generosity. My ore is sold, and my treasured books have returned. I can't believe it. What?
What was that? Paimon saw something fall out.
Oh, nothing, nothing. That little rascal surely isn't.
I wonder when I'll be as tall as my big sister.
Outrider Amber, reporting. Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber.
Storm Terror. Did something bad happen again?
Have you heard? Storm Terror.
I feel like running.
Storm Terror. Did something bad happen again?
Have you heard? Storm Terror.
Ad Astra Abyssosk. Welcome to the...
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer in your wolfendom.
Rebooting.
Hmm.
Jean will be upset if she catches us lazing around like this.
Hmm.
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's take a look.
Hmm.
Heart be pure, evil be erased, mind be purged, world be... I always forget that last part.
the Geo-Archon, this is the only chance you'll get all year. Guess it's a good thing Venti brought it up earlier. Otherwise, we definitely would have missed this year's Rite of Dissension. Well, Venti brought up the time, but Paimon knows nothing about where it is. Look, we're already in Liyue, so let's go ask some of the locals. Oh, right. About the Geo-Archon Morax. Did you know the Mora that we use is named after this god? But it's seen as impolite for people from outside Liyue to refer to the Geo-Archon by that name. So we should refer to the Geo-Archon by the name Rex Lapis, like the people of Liyue do.
Welcome. Please take a seat.
There seems to be something mysterious about this photographic apparatus.
Rite of Dissension. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Isn't that today? Once a year, Rex Lapis bestows upon us his divine prediction, guiding us on how to run Liyue for the coming year. Last year, it was the Yuheng of the Liyue Qixing that was given the honor of asking for the divine prediction. Ooh, Paimon knows this one! Mondstadt is to freedom as Liyue is to contracts. Liyue has a strong focus on business and trade. The Liyue Qixing, the 7 leaders of the 7 enterprises of Liyue, hold true control over Liyue. That's what foreigners always say. But true control over Liyue will always be held by Rex Lapis. The Qixing is comprised of mere mortals. Rex Lapis is a god. Mondstadt's god is nowhere to be seen, whilst our god is forever with us. Stay in Liyue long enough and you'll see. Given that you just left your godless city, it's time you experienced what it's like to be in a city whose god has walked with it through all of history.
Oh, are you also foreigners here for the Rite of Dissension? To think I've lived in Liyue all these years and never come to see this before. I guess it's like they say, locals never visit the tourist spots. I wish you well on your travels. Liyue always welcomes you.
You too wish to bear witness to the Rite of Dissension? Me too. We all do. As a businessman myself, how could I not take interest in Liyue's most important business trends? The 17 predictions given last year made more than a few ripples throughout the industry. What's more, there's been a rumor going around that the Tianshui herself, Ningguang, has been acting secretly in the shadows. She wants the rocks created by Geovision holders to be exempt from taxation.
Wow, that's some super professional legal stuff, that is.
To be on the pulse of the predictions and the market is what makes this harbor what it is. Among the 7, Rex Lapis is the oldest deity. His keen sense of strategy is well trusted among his people. Understanding the predictions as soon as possible can make all the difference in making your fortune.
Fortune? So where can we see this Rite of Dissension anyway?
You're not at all close. Not to mention that if I gave you directions, as foreigners, you'd get lost along the way. So better to head to Yujing Terrace, to the high ground. It's the highest place in the harbor. Sounds like the best place for trying to communicate with deities, no?
It was worth the trouble.
Paimon heard that the best time to make a wish is today, during the Rite of Descension. Wanna give it a try?
Your first time in Liu? Actually, it's my first time to see the Rite of Descension, too. Ah, look, that's Miss Ningguang of the Liu Xixing. Only those who have control in Liu can preside over the Rite of Descension. Oh yeah, not sure if you knew, but most of the Adepti appear in the form of various beasts. I heard that when attending these kinds of formal occasions, Rex Lapis himself appears as a celestial cross between two of Liu's ancient mythical creatures. Ah, sorry, I shouldn't interrupt your wish. Please, take this.
Oh, you also want a little Adepti luck too? Seems you know a lot. Making a wish during this time is sure to get you the blessings of both the Adepti and Rex Lapis himself. I've already made my wish, so you can take this.
Great! Thanks! Great! Now that we're all done with the wishing, guess we can just wait here for things to get started. Who knows how long that Miss Ningguang lady is gonna take? Whoa, look at all the people! We gotta get up front. We can't see squat back here.
The hour is upon us.
Rex Lapis has been killed. Seal the exits.
What? What's going on? Did she just say Rex Lapis is... The Geo-Archon is... dead? Oh no! The Millilith! Looks like they're nabbing suspects who got too close. Paimon's freaking out! The killer is amongst us! Wait, we got close. Are we suspects? Wait, where are you going? Oh no, there's a whole bunch of soldiers out there too. Your identity. You may not be the killer, but we can't let them get you. But can we even get out of here safely?
They're here! Arrest them! There's nowhere to run!
Hey, girlie, hold still.
Stop! Stop!
Come with me.
Paimon's exhausted. So insensitive. You have no idea just how tiring floating around... Wait. Just who are you exactly?
Call me Child.
Child? What, so we're supposed to dote on you?
No, not at all. It's an alias of sorts. In Mondstadt, I don't suppose you came across a Senora by any chance.
Senora? Child? You're Fatui, one of the Harbingers!
Oh, no. Don't worry. I'm not looking for a fight. Senora gave you quite the bad impression, huh? Pfft, that woman. Can't say I'm a fan either. Right. Let's forget all about her, shall we? I'm here to help you. Yes, help. I'm not a bad guy. Oh, okay, perhaps I'm kind of a bad guy, but I'm not here to give you any trouble. Would it be too much to ask for you to keep the sword sheathed? I thank you for your knightly nobility. I heard of your deeds in Mondstadt, so I couldn't help but notice you during the proceedings back there. And because I had my eye on you the whole time, I know it wasn't you. Someone else was clearly behind it. But, regrettably, given I'm a Fatui envoy from Snezhnaya, there's no way I'd be trusted after something of this magnitude. The ruling Qixing of Liyue has always been overly suspicious of us.
Well, can you honestly blame them?
Guess I shouldn't try to deny that. Okay, sure. Maintaining a distance between strangers is probably a good idea. Either way, I'm already used to it at this stage. But right now, if you want to clear yourselves of any suspicion, you need to get yourselves to Northland Bank. Staying here isn't an option. As the old Liyue saying goes, the walls have ears.
Bang! And with that...
Northland Bank.
Correct. This bank was opened here in Liyue by Snezhnaya. Though everyone knows Liyue is the most enterprising in Teyvat, Snezhnaya is not short of change either.
Yeah, well, poorer nations don't seem the type to have diplomats that come around acting the way yours do towards the Knights of Favonius.
Here, let me give you this.
This is
I'm not sure exactly. Sometimes all money can buy is things, and not a name for oneself. All I know is that it's a sigil. A sigil to keep the mighty and illuminated Adepti from bringing harm to you.
Adepti?
If you head north from the harbor, then west from Guili Plains, you will eventually reach a stone forest known as Jueyun Karst. The people of Liyue believe it to be the abode of the Adepti. Legend or not, they believe it. As such, offerings to the Adepti are made at its borders. Nobody dares venture in. But I have no need for believing, not when I know for a fact that the Adepti truly exist.
Hate to admit it, but your Fatui intel seems all right. But why would we go looking for Adepti anyway?
Oh, my little friend. There are plenty of reasons mortals seek the blessings of Adepti. Money, health, love. But you will go for justice.
Justice?
The Qixing will already have dispatched the Millilith. They'll be seeking out the assassin from amongst the onlookers. But how could a mere mortal kill a god that can sweep aside entire armies? Rex Lapis never gave up his power as a god. This level of crude response is beyond what is called for. How suspicious. Or to hide something else. Hard to say. Even now, the Northland Bank wouldn't be able to hold the Millilith off for long, but the Adepti can clear you of any wrongdoing. Liyue was founded by the Geo-Archon and the Adepti. Of course, it was built by force. Look for them, and be faster than the Qixing's messengers, so you may give your version of events first. If there is anyone that can help you in Liyue now, it can only be the mighty and illuminated Adepti.
What should I put in my letter? What should I put in?
And who might we be? Those that dare enter Jueyun Karst. A sigil of permission. Many a season has passed since one was last in the presence of such an item. He before you is the mighty and illuminated Adeptus, Moon Carver. Speak, traveler. What business have you here?
Actually...
It's the assassin! They dared to flee here to Jueyun Karst.
Sir, we've already stepped too far into Jueyun Karst ourselves.
There's no choice. Apprehending the assassin is top priority. We must press on.
Disturbing our borders. See them gone. One will not have interruption.
Who goes there? Take the target alive!
Be gone!
Attack!
Spirit Blade! Attack!
Take this!
From whence you came! A touch of frost. Submit for judgment.
To arms!
Witness the power of Gua.
Forth, my blade.
Take the
Spirit
target
Blade.
alive!
Attack!
Lithic Triad!
Submit for judgment. From whence you came!
Brain cutter.
Who goes there? Tactical! Retreat! Attack!
Spirit Blade! Attack! From whence you came! Swift and merciful! Spirit Blade! Attack! A touch of frost! Submit for judgment!
Rain outlines your fate. Let me weave you a verse.
Swift and merciful! From whence you came!
Well...
Preposterous. Preposterous! The Liua Qixing. Utterly disappointing. How could someone possibly assassinate Rex Lapis during the Rite of Dissension? And then place suspicion upon the attendees? Traveler, of the unjust accusations placed upon you, one has become aware. The mind knows its answer, though one must consult with one's fellows, lest the mind be misguided. Go, take your sigil of permission. Carry with you a message. Mountain Shaper and Cloud Retainer can be found here. Only fate will decide if you shall find them. Only fate. There exists a conqueror of demons, a guardian Yaksha. Go to Wangshu Inn. There you shall seek him.
Ah. A touch of frost.
No, my sword!
Forth, my blade.
Rain outlines your fate. Time to act! Go, my sword!
Swift and merciful. It was worth the trouble. I take my meals cold to quiet the spirit and calm my vital energies. Jinshin infused water with ice is the most effective. Huh? Huh?
Have mercy, O mighty Adeptus. I beg you, show mercy upon me and my brother. Spare our lives! Who are you? What's going on?
We asked you first.
Oh. You enjoy safe passage in Joyun Karst. It can only mean one thing. You must be Adepti messengers, sent here to rescue me and my brother.
What is he talking about?
Oh, have mercy, mighty messengers of the illuminated Adepti. I beg you to save us. My brother and I, we only came here because our family is poor, and we heard tell of treasures hidden in the amber of Mount Hulao. It was stupid of us. But all we wanted to do was find enough treasure to sell and support our family. We followed the path up the mountain, but suddenly, the amber, it swallowed up my brother Li Dang. I ran away and made it this far before it dawned on me. We were trespassers in the abode of the Adepti, and this was our punishment. I had no idea how to rescue my brother, so I just started praying for the Adepti to have mercy, right here on the spot. And now, at long last, 2 messengers come to my aid.
What? We're not Adepti messengers. We just want to find the Adepti like everyone else.
No, you must be messengers. You have to be. I have no idea which amber trapped him. Please, you have to rescue him. I beg you, show me some Adepti mercy. Thanks be to the Adeptus of Mount Hulao and to their messengers. Never will we be so foolish again.
Whoa, check you out! When you speak like that, you actually make a pretty convincing Adepti messenger. Paimon was gonna ask him about where to find the Adeptus, but he seems pretty one-track mind about rescuing his brother right now. So, he said that Li Dang got trapped in amber somewhere on Mount Hulao, and that they were following the path the whole way up. So let's follow the path down from here, and make sure to be on the lookout for amber on the way.
Exorcism uses thaumaturgy and martial arts to conquer evil. There are other means to the same end, but they are not the true way. Unexpected, but welcome.
Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber. I feel like running.
A touch of frost. One with my blade.
No, my sword! Witness the power of Gugwa! Treasure hunting. A valiant endeavor. outlines your fate. Body and mind.
Submit for judgment. A touch of frost.
Time to act. Rain outlines your fate. I hope we find long-lost ancient literature.
I ride on wind and cloud alike. Forth, my blade.
Ring cutter.
From whence you came. frost.
Rain outlines your fate.
Submit for judgment. But how?
No, my sword!
One with my blade. It was worth the trouble. Ah. Heart be pure, evil be erased, mind be purged, world be... I always forget that last part. Ah. Exorcism uses thaumaturgy and martial arts to conquer evil. There are other means to the same end, but they are not the true way. I ride on wind and cloud alike.
get tracked down by Outrider Amber.
What happened? You rescued me. Thank you. Oh, and have you seen my brother? His name is Li Ding. We were climbing the mountain together. I just hope he didn't get trapped in Amber too. Phew. So he's safe then? Oh, thank you. I will head up to find my brother now. Here's hoping I don't run into any more Amber on the way.
Hey, there's something strange over there. Come on, let's take a look. I'll race you there. Bet you can't keep up with me.
you there.
Thank you for rescuing my brother, oh mighty messengers of the illuminated Adepti. What? No. I mean, like everyone else, we've heard that there's an Adeptus living in Mount Hulao. But regular folks like us would never have the chance to meet them. No way. Unlike you guys, you're Adepti messengers, so it's a whole different story. Anyway, we have trespassed in the realm of the Adeptus for long enough. We should get going. Thank you, mighty Adepti messengers.
Yes, thank.
Boy, it'd be super helpful if we actually were Adepti messengers. 'Cause it seems like this Adeptus has got a real temper problem. But it's not like we've done anything wrong, so...
Who dares trespass on my mountain? Who? Foolish mortal, come forth and receive your punishment. You intrude upon the sanctity of Mount Hulao. You destroy the amber of my mountain. And you free a thief whose freedom is not yours to give. The thieves' ignorance was an affront to the Adepti, but your actions are an abomination of the highest order.
Wait! We can explain!
A sigil of permission. One was unaware that such things still exist in the mortal realm. In the beginning, Rex Lapis cast them for the mortals with his own hand. Few were made then, and thousands of years on, fewer still remain. Speak. One shall listen to the matter which brings you here. Then one shall verify the truth thereof. You would be wise to speak the truth. For Liyue is not so far from here that one would be easily deceived. Rex Lapis, assassinated? At the rite of dissension? What mortal in Liyue, nay, in all the world, would conspire to commit such foul treason? Or perhaps the more pertinent question is, what power in this world could aspire to achieve it? Rex Lapis charged the Adepti with the protection of Liyue, and we have always honored this duty. As the people have prospered, so have we gradually withdrawn into the mountains. Indeed, this was a gesture of goodwill towards humanity. But now, alas, Rex Lapis, gone. Traveler, of the matter you have relayed, one has become aware. One now knows why Moon Carver has sent for us. Once one has dealt with certain matters here that require my attention, one shall convene with the other Adepti.
Paimon can! Adepti always have magical powers in storybooks. Seems it's true in real life, too. You know, like how grass is actually Adepti hair, and rivers are actually Adepti saliva. There must be something similar going on with the amber.
Your nonsense knows no bounds. This amber is produced by a flower that one has planted here, called the karst crawler. The majority of the plant is hidden underground. When stepped on, it produces amber to trap the invader. After taking up residence here, one planted many karst crawlers to ensure that the tranquility of the mountain would remain undisturbed. Over the years, they have helped to prevent many disturbances. But in the process, they have also trapped many curious things.
Oh, so the Amber is alive?
Correct. Thus, one may not leave this place in its current state, for fear of the risk to innocent lives in one's absence. One will depart as soon as one has attended to this matter. One trusts that the manner of your departure will be swifter in nature.
Hey, who put this table here? They've even set it ready for dinner. There's a wine jug and everything. Ooh, they even have the guests' names carved into the seats. Here sits Retainer. Here sits Guizhong. Here sits Rex. Maybe Rex is short for Rex Lapis. But Paimon has no idea about Guizhong. As for Retainer... That's it! When Mooncarver was going through the names of his Adepti buddies, he said there was one called Cloud Retainer. So this must be where Cloud Retainer and the other Adepti have their dinner parties. How about we cook up some extra special dishes for the Adepti? We're sure to get Cloud Retainer's attention that way. But what do Adepti even eat anyway? Paimon has no idea. People must make offerings here all the time. Guess all we can do is look around the area for any leftovers. Maybe that'll give us some ideas. Do you think maybe it's at all possible that the Adepti might like to try some sticky honey roast?
Opening a chest is like unwrapping a gift. No one escapes my sights.
Someone has definitely cooked here before. Do you think they were making an offering? Looks like they didn't use all the ingredients. Let's see here. We got some snapdragon, some lotus heads, some tofu. Whatever they were cooking, it sounds complicated. Hey, look over there. They left some notes too. Yup, it's a doozy. Paimon's not surprised they had to write it all down. It's a lot to remember. We should read it carefully. call a dish that's made... What would you call a dish that's made from snapdragon?
I'll race you there.
Whoa, the ground is covered in flour. What a messy chef. Seems there's meat in this pot, but Paimon can't tell which kind. Do you think whoever cooked this made it as an offering to the Adepti? Paimon can't quite imagine an offering made of flour and meat. Huh? Our messy chef dropped a piece of paper on the floor. Ew, and there's a huge footprint on it, too. But footprint aside, maybe it has something to do with this mystery dish. I'm so curious. What kind of dish?
I'll race you there. Bet you can't keep up with me.
It's very clean here. Whoever cooked here last obviously likes to keep things neat and tidy. Paimon bets they were making an offering to the Adepti. Looks like we got us some matsutake and some raw meat. And what do you know? The recipe is right here. This chef was a super organized person.
I'll race you there! Next time, be sure to make a proper appointment.
One senses the presence of a sigil of permission. One knows not why you have come, though the sincerity of your offering is clear. Hence, you shall be granted an opportunity. Find your way through mine abode, and you shall receive an audience with the Adeptus whom you seek.
Boom boom!
Forth, my blade!
Witness the power of Guhua!
Look! That platform is moving! So that's what this button is for!
Time to act. Rain outlines your fate.
Swift and merciful! Spirit Blade! Attack! Forth, my blade!
Incinerate!
One is most impressed. The path that leads through this abode defies those of ordinary abilities. The one before you is the Adeptus Cloud Retainer. Now speak of the matter which brings you here. You surmise correctly. This place did one self-build, as did one design the mechanisms within. In fact, even Gui Zhang and Rex Lapis themselves found one's technological accomplishments to be worthy of commendation.
This place is huge, and there are so many mechanisms. Do you really have this whole place to yourself? What's it even for? Did you build it as your private mechanism workshop or something? It's just like the stories say. The Adepti leave the human world, find somewhere to go be a hermit, and then they research and invent all these amazing things.
One is simply not partial to the tedium of social interaction, and wished to find some peace and quiet. Find it one did. Shortly after which, you arrived bearing your sigil of permission. But enough. State the matter which brings you here at once. You have disturbed the tranquility of this place for long enough. Rex Lapis. Assassinated? How can this be? Such a heinous crime! Who would dare? The notion is so preposterous as to be unbelievable. One shall have to verify the truth of the matter independently. Perhaps one shall quash Liyue first, then convene with the other Adepti.
Wait, what? Did you just say squash Liyue Harbor? Are you seriously gonna wipe out the whole city?
Only a response of sufficient magnitude can negate the possibility of further incidents. It is as you say. We have protected Liyue Harbor under the leadership of Rex Lapis for 37 centuries. But in the face of this coup, by nefarious actors, exceptional measures must be taken.
Yikes! Quick, you gotta think of something. She wants to squash Liyue flat, and it doesn't seem like she's bluffing. Exactly what Paimon was gonna say. We made all that delicious food and gave every last bit of it to you. We were hoping you might help Liyue out, not wipe Liyue out. Or at least let's, discuss it first. Can't hurt for you to get a second opinion.
Contract? A cruel irony that you should appeal to the notion after the merciless murder of the god of contracts himself. The people of Liyue seem quite content to dispense with their contracts. They are quite adept at taking that which is composed of black and white and turning it gray. Nevertheless, since you come here in the name of contracts, far be it from one to abandon one's own contractual obligations. Least of all when you come bearing a sigil of permission. Rex Lapis infused these sigils with adeptal power when he first cast them. That power once aided humans in battle. Most of the sigil's power has long since worn off. It is but a keepsake now. This keepsake cannot be taken as proof of your trustworthiness. One must investigate the claims that you make independently. This, no doubt, is Mooncarver's very reason for summoning us. Your audience with the Adeptus before you is now concluded. Leave at once,